Hey everyone, and welcome to RUBIN'S Mind Lab, where we break down the latest research into what it really means. Ever feel like your brain is constantly jumping from one thing to the next, especially when you are scrolling through your phone? Well, this new study might have a clue about why. So imagine those super short videos you see on TikTok, Instagram Reels, or YouTube Shorts. They flash one after another, and before you know it, you've spent an hour watching them. This paper asks if using these platforms affects our attention, and if it is different for each platform. They also looked at whether it specifically relates to that feeling of not being able to focus, or if it is more about feeling restless and impulsive. Basically, they wanted to know if it matters which app you are using, and if the effects are specific to not being able to pay attention versus being overly active. They surveyed 193 young adults, asking them about how much time they spent on TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, and Facebook Reels each day. They also asked them questions to measure ADHD symptoms, and how much they felt they had a problematic relationship with social media, like feeling like they couldn't control their use. Looking at the numbers, TikTok seemed to be the most used among these platforms, with a good chunk of people spending over an hour a day on it. Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts were used by fewer people for longer periods, and Facebook Reels barely got a mention. This already hints that TikTok might be doing something a bit different. They also checked for social media addiction. It turns out about 8.8% of their participants showed signs of what they consider clinical levels of social media addiction. That is a pretty significant number, and it's higher than what they found in some other studies. And get this, the participants in this study reported a lot of ADHD symptoms, way more than the average you'd see in the general population. This could mean that people who already struggle with attention are drawn to these platforms. Or maybe the platforms themselves contribute to these feelings. The study found that on average, people reported more inattention symptoms than hyperactivity, impulsivity symptoms. Now, for the really interesting part, the results. When they looked at the numbers, they found that only TikTok use was linked to higher ADHD symptoms, specifically to problems with inattention. None of the other short-form video platforms showed a significant link. This is a big deal. It suggests that the way TikTok is designed might be what is important, not just the fact that the videos are short. And here's where it gets even more interesting. They found that the connection between using TikTok and having trouble with inattention wasn't direct. Instead, it seemed to be happening through problematic social media use. In other words, using TikTok more led to a greater likelihood of having a problematic relationship with social media. And that then led to more inattention symptoms. This is called mediation. It is like saying, TikTok usage doesn't directly cause inattention, but it contributes to social media addiction, which then impacts attention. They saw the same pattern when they looked at total ADHD symptoms. TikTok use was linked to more total ADHD symptoms. And again, this link was explained by problematic social media use. So, what does this all mean? The researchers believe that the unique way TikTok is designed is key. It is built around a single, never-ending stream of personalized content. This design might be really good at grabbing and holding your attention, creating what they call immersive attentional capture. Unlike other platforms where you might switch between different features, TikTok keeps you focused on that one feed. This is why they think Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts didn't show the same effects. They are part of bigger apps with other things to do, so maybe you don't get as lost in them. The fact that the effect was mainly on inattention and not so much on hyperactivity or impulsivity is also super important. Some older ideas suggested that fast-paced media makes us jumpy and unable to focus. But this study suggests something else. Maybe these platforms make it harder to sustain attention on tasks that aren't as instantly rewarding, rather than making us more restless. The idea that problematic social media use is the middleman is a huge takeaway. It is not just about how much time you spend on an app, but how you engage with it. If that engagement feels out of control and interferes with your life, that is where the attention problems might really kick in. This research really pushes us to think differently about how we study media and our brains. We can't just lump all social media together. We need to look at the specific features of each platform, like its algorithm and how it is designed to keep us engaged. Now, it is important to remember that this study was a snapshot in time. They asked people to report their own usage, which can be a bit unreliable, and they didn't prove that TikTok causes these issues. It is possible that people who already struggle with inattention are naturally drawn to platforms like TikTok. Future research needs to follow people over time, and maybe even try changing how these apps work in experiments to truly understand the cause and effect. They also suggest using actual tests of attention, not just self-reports, to get a clearer picture. So, in a nutshell, this study found that not all short-form video apps are created equal when it comes to our attention. TikTok, with its unique immersive design, seems to be linked to inattention, and this link appears to be explained by how it might contribute to problematic social media use. This is a really important step in understanding how the digital world is shaping our minds. It tells us we need to be more specific in how we study media's impact, looking at platform design and the way we interact with them. What are your thoughts on this? Do you find TikTok more engaging or distracting than other apps? Let me know in the comments below, and if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to RUBIN'S Mind Lab for more science breakdowns, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next episode. Thanks for watching and stay curious.